Hello and welcome to our Leicester College launch for T-levels. We are starting our very big marketing campaign for T-levels, tell you all about what they are and exactly how you can start studying with them, the benefits for you as well. We're joined by quite a cool bunch today. I'm quite excited. I've been a bit nervous because I feel like I've got to be my most professional. But we're joined by our principal, Verity Hancock. Hi, Verity. How are you doing?
Hi.
Cool. We've also joined by Dan, who's a private secretary to the minister, who is on his right, or left on your screen, not sure which way. And then we are joined by the Minister for Apprenticeships and Skills, Gillian Keegan. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That's all right. Do you want to tell us a little bit about sort of who you are, so that the general public might not know who you are?
Okay, well, I'm a minister in the Department for Education and responsible for apprenticeships and skills. And so T-levels and FE colleges come in that portfolio. I've been an MP for Chichester, which is where I am actually right now, since 2017. But before that, I spent 30 years working in businesses all over the world, really, different industries, manufacturing, banking, payments, tech, for the last 15 years. So that's me. That's my background. I'm also an apprentice myself, or a former apprentice. So I started my working career by doing an apprenticeship in a car factory, which became a degree apprenticeship. So I'm very much supportive of this kind of applied way of learning and studying and working at the same time.
Fantastic. So you really have got a lot of experience in this area and you know what you're talking about in terms of loads of different industries, which is really cool. So we'll start off with the sort of big question, which is probably what's on everyone's lip, which is, what are T-levels?
So do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So T-levels are a brand new qualification. They've been developed. It's quite a key difference, which is, for years now, people have been trying to say, how do we make sure young people are studying things that when they get to the workplace, whenever they get to the workplace, they're really valuable to the workplace. They've studied things that they can use straight away, that are relevant to what is a very fast moving technological environment in the business and organizations today. So we basically said we're going to need a totally different system. So we sat down with 250 leading employers, many of them global employers, as well as having big operations here, and we designed together the T-levels. So they are very much designed with these businesses. They're quite digital and technical. They're quite very up to date, quite futuristic. And so as well as studying something which is really relevant and is going to make you super valuable to a business, you also get a 9-week work placement, which you can do a project or, whatever experience you agree with the employer. So you spend quite a long time as well in the workplace. I think they're like the inverse of an apprenticeship. An apprenticeship, you're 80% working, 20% in a college. In T-levels, you are 80% in a college, but 20% working, more or less. And they are the future of technical education.
Fantastic, thank you. So going on from that, so what are the benefits to students for studying T-levels? They get that hands-on experience, but what's the benefit of doing a T-level over an apprenticeship, do you think?
Well, first of all, they're equivalent to 3 A-levels. So, you get the choice of a T-level or an A-level if you're going to study full-time. The benefits are you're studying something which is, I guess it's more career-led study. You're kind of already on a career path. So they are in, digital, in construction. That's the design, planning and surveying part of construction, and also in childcare and early years education. So you're already kind of really studying in depth in a career path. So I mean, they're quite broad career paths, but that's the big difference. So they're equivalent to 3 A-levels. You get the best grade of T-level, it's equivalent to 3 A stars at A-level. So they're the same in terms of grades, but they're just much more focused in a particular area. And of course, they give you that massive differentiator, which is the work experience. Often young people get in this trap, which is, you're applying for a job, you don't have any experience. Well, give me a job and I'll get some experience. And that is a kind of never ending sort of cycle. T-levels get you out of that cycle.
So T levels give you that experience while you're studying, and also give you the opportunity to go to college and get those skills, which is really cool. Verity, from your sort of outsider perspective, not being one of the key figureheads in T levels, what do you think are the aims of T levels? What have you sort of taken away from those things?
This is about raising the prestige of technical and vocational education. I mean, here at Leicester College, it's what we care about. That's the focus of. That's what Leicester College does. But for too long, people do just talk about A levels often, maybe apprenticeship, but all the other practical qualifications that people do don't get talked about in the same way, and don't necessarily get the publicity or have the prestige, even though, you know, they often lead to higher education, to really good career paths and jobs and higher study. So I think T levels are a really important way in which prestige can be raised and people's pathways can be valued.
Amazing. Gillian, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, having done an apprenticeship myself, so I left school at 16, did an apprenticeship. If I was leaving school today, or if I was 16 today, I would do a T level. I'd probably do the construction T level, actually, because it's there's so much in terms of how you can create beautiful places, beautiful buildings. It's, you know, and we know we've got a lot of building that needs to be done in this country. We know we've got to create communities for people, and we know we've got to create more environmentally friendly homes. So that's the one that really I would probably do today, because I was very excited by that. But it's really just a very up-to-date modern way. I've worked in businesses all over the world for years, and so I can see it from that perspective. I can see that the things you're learning are exactly the same things that you would do in the workplace, using the same software, using the same equipment. You are almost stepping into the environment, either in construction or in a school or a nursery, or digital is in, you know, every organization. You're almost stepping into that straight away. And I think that's just a brilliant way of learning. I like that applied way of learning as well, where you get to really experience the practical side of it. For me, you know, people sometimes think of technical education as, you know, is it as good? Verity just said there, it sort of suffers from prestige. You know, I got right to the top of business with my apprenticeship, with my technical education, and, you know, and now I'm the Minister of Apprenticeship and Skills. You can go anywhere with a T level, with technical education. In fact, you can go further with technical education.
Yeah, because obviously each qualification has its own benefits. So, you know, you could go and do an A level if you're really into more academic, you know, English, history, that kind of thing. But if you're looking at more of a vocational hands-on job, if that's what you really want to do, then technical education is definitely a really good path into that, which is amazing. So in terms of the structure, T levels are structured a little bit differently to sort of the standard BTEC and A level. Tell us a little bit about the difference in the structures between the A levels, BTECs and T levels.
And that's for me.
Well, I think Gillian's already said about the difference with T levels is that you get this extended placement in industry, not just sporadic work experience, but extended time, industrial placement, to do a project, to really get that hands-on practical experience over a sustained period of time. And that's the main difference.
Cool. Gillian, anything to add?
Well, what I always look at is, you know, it's a very competitive world getting a job. It's going to get more competitive now. You know, we know that there's going to be quite a lot of economic disruption caused by coronavirus. It's a globally competitive world as well. We're actually in a global talent race. If you can put on your CV that you have achieved something, that you have done something, you've got something to show that is valuable in the workplace, that really does count for a lot. But it also means something else. You go into a workplace, you're there for 9 weeks, you meet everybody, you see all the careers that are on offer, which will be way more than anybody's ever told you about. You'll see what kind of things they are. You'll meet a network, you'll get connected with people on LinkedIn. You will be starting your search for a job. I think it's like the longest job interview in history, and I think a lot of employers see it that way as well. Building the talent pipeline, getting to see young people in the workplace, seeing where they're going to recruit from for high level apprenticeships, or for jobs with other career paths. So I think it's very important. I've been in this situation so many times where I've had to choose between people. Who do I recruit? And it's very difficult. Everyone has great grades. Lots of people have done D of E or, these kind of other things, or something to differentiate themselves. This is where you can really differentiate your experience and show what you're made of.
Amazing. I also correct in thinking that the way that you study T-levels with the specialisms, you can be more specific in what you want to do in terms of the modules you pick in order to get into a certain area of business.
That's right. So, for example, we're going to be offering health and science T-levels from September. And there are specialisms in things like mental health nursing, midwifery, pharmacy, and laboratory services. So, not only is it going to give you a really good general immersion in health and science, but you can pick something you're really interested in and start to plot your career path.
Amazing. So you can get those skills that you wouldn't normally get until you get to university while you're at college, which is a really cool thing. So we've talked a little bit about the benefits to students, but what would you say the benefits are to employers to hiring students on T-level courses?
Well, the first thing is you get to see them for 9 weeks. You get to work with them. You get to, as I say, it's like the longest job interview, really, in a way. You do get to, so you get to that kind of understanding of what someone has to offer. But also it means when you go into the workplace, there's been for too long, and I've pretty much everybody I've worked in business has said this, why is it that we have people who've spent years in education, they've spent years in university, they come into the workplace and they know virtually nothing that they can kind of contribute to the workplace. There has to be a kind of whole induction, education, graduate programs. They then take another couple of years, and the world that we live in is vastly very fast moving and very technological. We've all seen this with coronavirus, that instant sort of shift to everything online. Businesses have been dealing with this for years. Every software is updated, very quickly, very rapidly. So the benefit to businesses is you can start that pipeline, that talent pipeline, with people who can get going and really have a lot to offer very quickly. And that's really important. In a lot of the areas in this country, we have massive skills shortages. Verity mentioned a lot in the sort of health and science and sort of nursing profession. All of those areas, we have massive skills shortages. So if you're a young person who wants to get on a career, who really wants to differentiate and be able to get a really good job, a well-paid job, this is a very good way to secure your future.
Fantastic. So from a Leicester College standpoint, Verity, do you want to talk about the T-levels that we're offering? Because we are one of the sort of a small pool of colleges in the East Midlands that are starting T-levels in 2021. Do you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, we're obviously building on our strengths in terms of what we already have, or what we already offer and have real success in and have fantastic facilities for. So from September, we're going to be offering T-levels in education and childcare, health and science, which I talked about, and construction, because we are a huge college for construction, and it'll cover all aspects. So, for example, plumbing, carpentry, electrical, and all those specialisms within construction. And then we're going to be offering digital as well, which of course covers a vast range of potential specialisms and careers, building on the expertise within our department.
Amazing, cool. If you are watching at home and do have any questions about T-levels, do not hesitate to pop them in the comments and we will answer those for you. But if you do think of any later on after the session, we've got some subject-specific sessions. So we're going to be talking about digital, construction, health and science, and education and childcare a little bit later on. If you have any sort of generic T-level questions, do pop them in the comments or drop us a message on our social media pages. So this is more of a us question, but will students have to study English and maths alongside their T-level? Because that's sort of one of the things people might not always pass the GCSEs. Will they be able to get onto it even if they haven't?
If they've already got a grade 4 or above in English and maths, then you've got your GCSEs, you won't have to study GCSEs again, although English and maths will continue to be embedded in the T-level. So you'll continue to develop your English and maths skills in context, and that's really important. If you haven't achieved a grade 4 or above, then you will need to achieve that before you can achieve your full T-level qualification, but we'll help you to do that. And it'll depend on your other GCSE grades as to whether you can get straight onto the T-level or whether you go on to what's called the T-level transition course at level 2. That'll be a 1-year level 2 program, which will help you prepare for the T-level itself.
Fantastic. So similar to that vein, obviously with BTECs, if you don't get the grades to do a BTEC level 3, you can always go into a level 1 or a level 2. Would you have to start with T-levels, or do you have to get the grades to be able to go fully into the T-level?
I think my understanding is that you can study English and Maths GCSE alongside the T-level. I think that's correct.
Yeah,
but there may be other. Yeah, but there may be other GCSE qualifications that to get onto the T-level you need to have, and I think that will be subject specific.
Is that correct, Gillian?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously entry criteria is for the colleges, they'll set that, but to finish your T-level you will have need to have passed your English and Maths, and to be honest, that's because most employers, in fact pretty much all employers, will say that's the basic. You really need to get those. I mean, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes people haven't had a good experience the first time around, but it is worth the effort because it makes a big difference when you get into the workplace, just being able to do that.
It's important to say that Leicester College has a good track record in getting people through English and Maths who haven't previously managed to get that all-important grade. We're better than average in terms of doing that. It requires commitment on our part and commitment on the students' part as well, but it's absolutely doable. And quite often people find that doing it alongside a vocational course that they're really passionate about actually really helps with the English and Maths.
Amazing. I had a question from Facebook from Victor, who's asked, how would T-levels affect our UCAS progression into university, or would it stay the same, which is equivalent to 3 A-levels, etc.? I know we talked about a little bit about this. Do you want to talk about that again, Gillian?
Yeah, so you do get UCAS points. If you get the very top grade of T-levels, it's equivalent to 168 UCAS points, which is the same as 3 A-stars at A-level. So there is obviously a scale, but you can get your UCAS points at A-level. So the universities are looking at the course as well, and I think effectively, if you want to go into sort of a particular university courses, the way that universities are looking at T-levels is they're a great route into courses that build on what you have studied. So a lot of the people, I went to a visit last week and met a lot of T-level students who were planning to go to university, and they wanted to be architects, they wanted to be quantity surveyors, they wanted to be civil engineers, and they were on that path already, but that was the degree they wanted to study.
Fantastic. Yeah. So what is the university standpoint? Has there been quite a lot of, excitement to intake T-levels? Because that could always be quite a concern, being the first set of students to do a T-level, is that universities might not recognise them as a qualification. But is that something that's been sort of talked about to universities as well, just to ease any concerns?
Yeah, and we're going through that process now. They started 2 weeks ago, the T-levels. So there's quite a few universities have already said, yeah, we'll take them. But there's a lot that now are looking at them and saying, yeah, these are great ways for these courses, etc. So yes, you will definitely be able to go to university if you want to go to university. But the other thing I think T-levels open up for you, and I personally think is the best kept secret in the country, which is higher level apprenticeships and degree apprenticeships. Now I'm a bit biased because I did a degree apprenticeship, but starting work, getting paid, getting somebody to pay for your education and getting on in the workplace is a fabulous way into a career. Okay, you miss out on some of the sort of aspects of uni life if you're not going away and you're not doing the full-time study, but for me it worked incredibly well. So I'm a big fan of high-level apprenticeships, and I think T-levels will be a great route to differentiate, to get those highly sought-after spots.
100%, and they obviously are two-year long qualifications. So by the time you finish your T levels, there'll be lots more T levels out there, going all across the country. So there'll be more of a recognised qualification, which is amazing. So Alexandra on Facebook also asked, "Can I come in to talk to you to find out more about T levels?" Alexandra, if you want to drop us an email, obviously with coronavirus right now, we're not having too many guests on campus. You want to drop us an email on info@leicestercollege.ac.uk, and we'll answer those questions for you. Gillian obviously won't be able to answer this question because she's busy being an MP, so she's got lots of things on her plate. And we'll be happy to answer all those questions for you. Any concerns, do drop us a message either on Facebook or give us an email at info@leicestercollege. And so I think that's all the questions that I have for you all. Is there anything that you'd like to add or say to students before we wrap up?
Can I just say, I mean, T levels are a new qualification. So, obviously people are going to spend a bit of time getting to know them. But in my view, they are the best qualification in technical education we've ever had in this country. They are streets ahead of most of the qualifications that you can do. And that's because of these leading employers that have done them with us. The government is completely committed to them. We will be investing £500 million a year in T levels, which is a lot of money for a qualification. If you go and look at a lot of the places, and I'm sure Leicester will be doing this over the next year, the equipment, the investment in making sure that you're working with the latest equipment and the latest things is also an important part of the T-level journey. But if you want to imagine yourself in the workplace from the get-go, if you want to be studying for a career that you know you're passionate about or you want to do, this is a brilliant way to get ahead of everybody else.
Fantastic. Verity, is there anything you'd like to add as well from our perspective?
No, just to fully endorse everything the Minister has said. And we're really excited about this. We've got such dedicated staff, such fantastic facilities. T levels are going to give us the opportunity to showcase all of that and offer the people of Leicester and Leicestershire a fantastic route into work and higher level study. So it's really exciting.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all so much for joining me. It's been really informative, and I hope that people at home have watched this and found out what T levels are and actually got that mysterious qualification name that we've been talking about the last couple of months, finally sort of an answer to those questions. Again, if you do have any questions, we are streaming for the rest of the day, so we've got a live stream +10. It's going to be talking all about our digital T levels. So if that's what you're interested in, join us for that a little bit later on. Excuse me. And then all our subjects we'll talk about later on today as well. If you're an employer, we've got an employer webinar at 12:30, where we're talking about the benefits to employers, how it's all going to work from your perspective. So again, join us for that a little bit later on. But for now, I'll say thank you guys so much for joining me. This has been really informative. And we'll see you all very